Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi LIVENODING. In this episode, I'm going to share with you this another stacking setup. Basically, this is something that can be good for to generate some kind of a simple building. Very often, you will see building that's kind of stacking in this way. This is just a box, but you kind of like being able to kind of slice through the box and then give it like a little bit of gap. So you end up with this kind of like a cheap looking building, but it's kind of work. There is actually one building in Sydney that looks like this. It's the UTS building. Some people call it ugly. Some people call it like super simple and smart, but it's totally up to you. But anyhow, this is one of such example. You can create it using Sverchok. And this is actually made much simpler because of the Voronoi, believe it or not. So the Voronoi is really responsible for this. If I do something like crazy here, like give it like a little bit of value, you will see that the stacking is really being generated by the Voronoi. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to explain, but I'll try. I'll zero this out. So back to original. So basically, the idea is to have a way to slice a geometry, right? The geometry can be anything. Can be a cone, can be a cylinder, or whatever, and you want to be able to slice it. And since we have the Voronoi thing, what I did is really to take the center point of the top and center point of the bottom of the bounding box of the objects, and based on that, I kind of making this interpolation of points, and using that points, I can slice any objects. So yeah, that's the whole premise there. So I'm currently using box, like I said, but I can easily change it to anything. I'll try. See, I'll show you. If I change this into cylinder, plug this in and plug that in. See, I end up with a Babylon tower. No, not really. It's like a, I don't know what you call it, but this is, so yeah, such a simple setup, but you can get a quite believable kind of building with kind of detail. I think, yeah, that's quite decent. I don't know. I guess that's kind of interesting in itself. So I'll delete that. Back to this guy. I don't know what you call this in the architecture terminology. Is this a stack effects? I don't know. But anyhow, so with the box itself, I have this set up right here so that I can sort of control the squash and stretch. It's not perfect. I wish that box can be made into any kind of like a cube, and simply by pulling the face. Well, actually, to think about it, we can sort of do that, but I'm not gonna do it now. It's just I'm just gonna use this setup to squash and stretch the box. So that's what this is for. What's happening next is actually what's important here. Really, like I said, I'm only taking uh, I'm using this bounding box, and with bounding box, really you can get any center points of any polygon from 6 different directions: top, bottom, front, back, and left and right. So you can actually, if you modify this setup slightly, um, you can have building with this kind of detail, like a vertical, or currently it's just this horizontal, but you can also make it like in any directions, width, height, and what's the other one, depth. Yeah, so this is what's going on in here. It looks pretty complicated, but it's just, this means select the top center point of the polygon. This is select the bottom center point of the polygon, and then combine the two, get the interpolations, and vector interpolation generate the points. I can even show you the points right here, but these points, yeah, maybe I should show you. So this is the points that make up the slicing. We are using the Voronoi, so Voronoi is very powerful to do the slicing. And these points slice through every objects inside it. So that's what's going on. If I go a little bit crazy, increase the amplitude here, you know, we get like Voronoi like building. This can be interesting design. Well, yeah, something like that. There is a building in Tokyo that looks like this, in Ginza, very famous one, building by, I think it's for jewelry. I can't remember, but it's for fashion, I think, fashion design building. If I increase these points, we might get more interesting design. Well, anyway, don't go too crazy. Back to normal. So that's basically the premise. Any box, you can slice it vertically in any width and height directions. That's actually made up some kind of interesting setup with a slight modification, turning this into a monad. So you can actually build this kind of like all kind of building creations based on this really super generic model. So at the moment, like I said, it looks like UTS building in Sydney. It's a university. It's the famous block around the corner, just near the Central Park. So you can check it out online. Central Park is actually a nice building right there. This is the UTS building. Delete. Anyway, if you want to try, also you can use text. I'll write down hello. So if your text, I'm gonna extrude it like that. Hello, and then I'm gonna cut this guy. Objects in. Don't crash, please. Okay. Get selection. Plug this in there. You should have this design. Oh, by the way, I have the inside part. The inside part is doesn't work really well for this text. Gonna hide it, but you can see how it's stacked and being sliced through. And if I bake it out, it actually bake it from up here. If I bake it out, looks something like this. This middle part is not like super perfect, like right there, but you can't normally you can't see it anyways. So that's becoming the inside of these objects. But still, this is kind of interesting. From far away, it looks like a famous casino hotel or something, maybe. So yeah, it actually works with text as well. Any objects, and this guy can slice it, and you can do quite a lot. Okay, so yeah, this is the one. Actually going further, and then here, what you can do is you can kind of scale it in all kind of direction. So this is a bonus. It's not perfect back here, and sometimes it does something funky. But this is the way you can kind of separate every part of this building, and then you further work on this, like scale it and maybe shift it slightly. You can do that. Randomize it, maybe rotate it. Rotate it, that's an interesting one. You can actually do that. I'll show you. Range float count 0 to 360. How many slices is this? 10. Okay. Plug this in. So you can do that as well if you like. Spin it. Spin the building. So that's a bonus, but that's not perfect. But just to keep you in mind, but up to here it's pretty good. Thanks to this Sverchok Voronoi 3D, really we can have this very funky slicing I think that's very cool. In fact, you can animate each one of these Voronoi pieces, and you don't need to separate the objects. It's just gonna work. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this live noding. Hopefully you find this useful. Just try using this node setup, and let me know what you think. And if you have any question, feedbacks, suggestion you want to add, let me know, and